Good evening, everyone. It's been a long time, but welcome back to the Omega Files. And tonight we're going to discuss the latest offering from Doctor Who, the New Year's Day special, Revolution of the Daleks. Okay, so when I go ahead and call your name, you remember the drill. Go ahead and give us your opening thoughts on the episode. I'm going to start from the bottom this time. Let's start with Texas Tim. What were your thoughts on Revolution of the Daleks?
For one, I mean, everybody has a bit of Dalek fatigue at this point, but I think that so I wasn't really looking forward to it that much for that reason. But I think they did come up with some pretty interesting ideas that they haven't done before with Daleks, and I thought it was a pretty good story. There were a few things I didn't like about it. I thought Jack was annoying. Sorry, he just is, uh, and but that's fine. I mean, he's a bit of a crowd pleaser, I suppose. The character, the rich millionaire guy from America, I thought he was just as annoying as he was last time. In a way that he was actually very cartoony as a villain. I think he should have been played more as a straight villain than a Scooby Doo villain. That's how he ended up coming across on screen. It was kind of like, oh, now I'm going to be evil and I'm gonna tell all the docs where the doctor is and blah blah blah. It's like, whatever, dude. You're not really that scary. But for the most part, I would say it was a pretty good outing. I mean, and I know a lot of people have said it's probably one of Jodie's best so far, and I would probably agree with that. It seemed pretty organized. There was a lot of things happening in this story. You lost some characters, and again, the Daleks can get very tiresome, but I think that they weren't that boring in this one because they did something different with them. But yeah, for the most part, I enjoyed it.
Okay, next up, let's go over to Lady Neo.
Hello everyone. This episode was pretty decent. It was a decent episode all the way around. The pacing was good. Needed to be fast in parts when it needed to be. Needed to slow down, get some explanation, get that emotional feel. I was surprised to see, oh, I gotta remember his name, Ryan. I kid you not, I felt like Ryan was like some kind of wise man or a monk or something with all he was spewing out. And I was just like, we'll see. That means he's ready to move on. So I said, okay, I see what's going to happen there. And Yasmin, well, she is basically a human version of the Doctor through and through. You can see it. And you know that full well she's not ready to let go. She even said that. Jack, oh, love him. Annoying little boy. I just love him. Yes, he's a boy to me. I don't care. Let's see. Well, he's not really a bad guy, but that Jack guy, that Jack Robertson, I think his name is Robertson, much better this time around. I like him and the Prime Minister and how they dealt with some key points that are going on now with the drones and the protests. And that part was kind of scary when I thought about it, because that stuff's kind of happening now with how they're trying to get the drones out here. And that's a little scary. Story-wise, on both ends was okay. Like I said, it was well paced on both ends. A little annoying in some parts where it kind of felt like the prison part really, to me, it felt like the prison part didn't need to be there. But it worked for the story all the way around. Ryan and Graham, they had their moment. They ended where they started. And I loved it.
Okay, next up, Graham.
How you doing, guys? For me, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was gonna. I'm in Tim's camp when it comes to Dalek fatigue at present, be it on TV or Big Finish. It's just they're everywhere, and we're getting them at the yin yang again this year. But like Tim, yeah, they did do something different with him. I tell you what I did like. I liked the fact they somewhat sneakily made this a direct sequel to Resolution. I didn't see that coming. They basically tacked on at the beginning where this Dalek shell came from towards the end of that episode. So this is basically your follow-up to Resolution, which I thought was pretty neat. I get Tim's point with regards to Jack Robertson, or Chris North's character being a bit zany and cartoony. I think I prefer that over the whole, Trump wannabe for the Spiders episode. I'm not normally one for cartoon villains myself. I get where Tim's coming for that, but I'll take that era caricature of a recent public figure who people are pissed at any day. John Barrowman, he's Marmite for folk, isn't he? You either love him, you hate him, or you love him. I can take or leave him. Here, he was fine. He served his purpose, and you know, will we see him again? Probably, but who knows when. He served as a good plot device to get the jailbreak done, and we're off to the races. Your regular free members of the fam, my only major gripe with this is Ryan had as Neo alluded to, his wise man moment. That's fine. Yaz, she was trying to work the TARDIS and then ended up going off with Jack doing her thing. Unfortunately, in his swan song, for me, Bradley Walsh's Graham got the short end of the stick here for me, in terms of having much to do except lay a couple of bombs and a failed attempt at a fist pump. But you know what? That's the trap that you run down when you bring in John Barrowman as a guest star, and you've got a TARDIS 5 as opposed to a TARDIS 4 for a one-off episode, and then even an extra 10-15 minutes of screen time if they're going to solve that. Also, the problem of too many folks in the TARDIS. But the Daleks, yep, good stuff. Different. You did the call back to Lynn with the lone Dalek possessing Leo, which is quite good. Again, follow up to Resolution. And for me, the whole Resolution we're bringing in is the CIA Daleks to deal with the impure ones was quite good, and the resolution at the end to get rid of the main Daleks was quite good. You know, with the false TARDIS and setting it to break apart and into a void. Quite good. I enjoyed that. Nice stuff. And yeah, I probably agree with Tim. One of Jodie's best. I wouldn't say it's her best, but it's up there. Decent outing.
Alrighty. Okay. Next up, Paul.
Hello, and Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah, this was just as epic as we was expecting to be. So much stuff in one episode. You know, we've got Doctor in prison, we've got these drones that are like Daleks, and then we've got Captain Jack coming back and breaking the Doctor out of prison. We've got the fam, trying to get back to the Doctor, and then the real Daleks coming, and and then at the end, obviously the leaving of Ryan and Graham. I love the music when they rolled the drone Dalek out in that little riot. That was really good. And the alien cameos, Don't Blink, and the little pating, that were good. I especially like that. Oh, I forgot you were here with the silence. That were good. Nice scene with Jack and Yaz where they're talking about, you don't choose when to leave the Doctor. And Square Nose comes back as well, however you say it. I don't know if I said it right there. And I like the time vortex. You saw it a lot in series before last. I like that they've done with that. Oh, and the Dalek vision on them drones looked smart as well. I like that, and the effect on the gun when it fired. Dalek voice sounded a bit different to me. It sounded a bit influenced by Remembrance at Daleks. I don't know if anyone else thought that, but it sounded very similar to that. And that were funny bits. Stop talking weird, Graham, when they were Graham was trying to do the fist pump. And the bit with all the Daleks flying into the TARDIS, the fake TARDIS, that was brilliant. And and an emotional ending, I thought. Very nice ending.
Alrighty. Okay. Up next, let's go over to AJ.
What can I say about this episode? I guess it was good to see Doctor Who back on TV for a while. I love the look of the old Daleks, and their spaceship was really cool looking on the inside. I'm really astounded by that set. It was really well done. These new variant Daleks with the red eye stalk and the red shooty, they were interesting, I guess. I mean, they technically weren't real Daleks because they were part human. It was good to see Jack back. What they should have done, though, was had, streaks of grey through his hair because he's like, so many years older. They should have kept, a bit of age to him, I think. To see Graham go, I think is kind of sad because he felt like the heart and soul of the crew of the TARDIS. Mandep Gill was like a lovesick puppy around the Doctor. That got kind of annoying for me. And I guess Ryan kind of felt a bit like Mickey Smith, with his, I'm going to go off and do my own thing now. So it's sort of like this story felt like it was cherry picked throughout the last couple of seasons of certain parts of stories and scripts, and they're just into this story. To me, that's what it felt like. I don't know if anyone else thinks that, but it just, I don't know. It's a mishmash bag. I didn't hate it. I didn't unlike it, but it was okay. It was middle of the road to me.
Alrighty. And next up, let's go to DWC.
Yeah, I certainly like this episode. It's one of those weird things, however, where I don't quite know what to say. What's good? I liked it, but I don't know quite what to say. What's good about it? But I mean, there are things I didn't like, but you can, and it's much easier to say what you don't like than what you do. But certainly, what I love. I mean, when it opened, I was thinking, is this going to be a partly doctorless episode? But then it wasn't the case. And like Paul said, I loved having all those alien cameos. I mean, you had the Ood, you had the Sycorax, you had a lot, Silence, obviously a lot. I didn't even think. It was very much a who's who of, or more accurately, it was kind of raiding the props department to see what they had left. And of course, bringing Jack was absolutely great. Although I'm going to ask, never mind how he got that vortex manipulator in there. How the hell did he get that big ball in the prison? That's what I want to know. But on top of that, again, Jack Robertson, whatever his name, I'm blanking on the name. To again, much better this time. I think that it might have been the script that actually did him a bit better. And on top of that, now a few things I probably didn't like somewhat. I mean, I must say that some who didn't know, there were a few Brexit references in there, and I will go through those very quickly because I want to hang on. There was a bit about the car manufacturers leaving. Yep, that's a Brexit thing. And there's actually a line from Jack where he says, this is why people don't like experts or something. That is very much a reference to during the Brexit debate, a prominent MP over here literally said people have had enough of experts. So that out of the way. What else was there? There was some interesting lines of dialogue in there. There was a bit about with, like Paul was saying about the conversation between Jack and Yaz, how you don't pick when you travel with the Doctor or something along those lines. There was something a bit in me that was kind of like, is this subtly saying we're going to be cancelling the show at some point? I don't know. I probably got that wrong. There was another bit where actually between the Doctor and Ryan, where they're talking about how change doesn't have to be frightening or something like that. And I could not get it out of me, but I'm thinking, is this just a subtle nod to say, look, this is the Doctor, whether you like it or not, to that part of the fan base? But I don't know, maybe I'm just overreaching things there. But I also, again, the Daleks back, always a good thing, and fighting, and two factions fighting. Hey, I might be wrong, but I haven't seen that since Remembrance of the Daleks. That's a good thing. The only difference is, it seems that these pure Daleks, yeah, it seems like they really were superior because they just completely destroyed all those newfangled Daleks that we saw. Although I did somewhat wonder, we had the SAS Daleks, fine, SAS Daleks, great, and stuff in the time vortex. I'm like, wait, how long have they been there? Have they been there ever since the show came back? Because that's what now I'm just thinking, where are these Daleks come from? Because when the show came back, you had that one pure Dalek, then you had the Dalek Emperor creating all these new ones from humans. Since when have they had pure Daleks for a long time? But nonetheless, overall, still a pretty decent episode.
Okay, I hadn't done that in a while. All right. My thoughts on it. It started off a little bit slow for me. I know we had to flash back to, all the way back to tell, show the quick events of what happened at the end of Resolution and all that. But it's not that part that got me. It was all the talking, all the way caught, and, the scenes where the future prime minister lady or whatever, that I could have easily been done in a couple second flashback and put a few more minutes towards your characters and towards your plot. That's the one part that kind of stuck in my craw. Because all this backward exposition, I'm like, we're getting all this extra minutes for this episode, but it just seems like it's being spent on all this talking about doing this, when if I was writing it, it would have been a simple matter of the truck gets hijacked, Jack Robertson gets a phone call, he says something clever like, good, is it done? All right, proceed with the program, something like that. And then boom. And then later on, when you show the lady up in front at front of 10 Downing Street, then you do a quick flashback to that scene and all that, and boom, it takes you less than a minute. to cover the ground to say, okay, this was an inside deal all along. Because just the fact that, suddenly she's up for prime minister, you associate him with that character, and then you get a little quick flat, and boom, it's done. There's 5 minutes of dialogue snipped right there. You could have used for something else. That's just the part that stuck in my craw. Okay, now the part with the Dalek trap, where it turned out to be another TARDIS, I thought that was very clever, because everybody's been sitting around going, we've got all these TARDISes lying around. What's going to happen with them? Well, now you know what happened with one of them, at least. You got another one that's parked on another planet somewhere disguised as a tree, but who gives a damn, But at least this one that was on Earth, they tied that up rather nicely by using it as, a nice little box for the Daleks to get stuck in. Kind of like a reverse of what happened at Canary Wharf, where you had, the Genesis capsule or whatever, the prison ship, shooting them out. Now you had a TARDIS sucking them back in. It kind of shows you the one-mindedness of the Dalek race. Okay, it's like, we're gonna get you, we're boned. Okay, and then that nice effect of it collapsing in on itself. Bam! I thought that was very well done. So it's not that it's just there's a few minutes of exposition there that kind of slowed it down for me. But other than that, I enjoyed it for the most part. Especially it kind of felt bad for me, the fact that Bradley Walsh and, of course, Taz and Cole had to depart. Taz and Cole taking another series on over at AMC. Bradley Walsh, I think, is signed on to another series on ITV, and that guy is already busy as heck. Plus, with filming under COVID guidelines, we kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to hang around doing another season of Doctor Who. But as stated, he was kind of like, I think, the heart and soul of this team, so that's kind of sad that, his character's now moved on. But I do like the fact that they did take up on, as AJ brought up, they, other companions have gone off to do other things after. And the Doctor even gave them a little kit, which included psychic paper, so now they can run around on their own adventures and take care of things there on Earth, And I think that's kind of like how the Doctor kind of does it these days. There's so much going on, she kind of sublets it, to other people. Here, you guys do this, you guys do that. But here's the scary thought. I smell a Big Finish plot coming up here, okay? It's just me. Plus, you can have them intermixed with old companions and things like that if you decide to go on there, right? You could have them, keep up with the Jones family, so to speak, things like that, if you decide to go down the Big Finish route with those two characters later on. So, overall, like I said, I pretty much enjoyed it. Okay, was there anything else anyone wanted to bring up about this episode before we go to scoring? Okay, Tim shot his hand up first. You go ahead.
Well, one thing I didn't like was the emotional bits. They were kind of ham-fisted. They were necessary because you have companions leaving and whatnot, and it was fine up to the point when they see a vision of, what was her name, Grace, the lost grandmother or whatever. That was just so corny. That was like straight out of that business. Like, she was behind the tree the whole time in that silly episode, Capaldi one. That was just too over the top, and they're trying to get the tears flowing or something. To me, it was nice that they tributed the character that had been there from the beginning, but that's just no. You don't do it that way. And there was some of the exposition was good, like the sit down moment with the Doctor and Ryan was fine, because Ryan kind of showed that he's wised up and he's not really for this. He wants to get on with his normal life, which is cool. That was good. But Jack was just overbearing with I'm a companion expert. I know everything about every companion ever. So you better listen to me, Yaz, if you want to get anywhere. Basically was what he's so smug the whole time, talking down to her, because she was obviously like AJ said, like a dog, a sick puppy for the Doctor. And it was just like, man, come on. That was a bit much. But for the most part, it was handled okay. But there were some scenes I think that just were way over the top with the schmaltz. I was like, come on now. That's my main gripe actually with the story, but otherwise it was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that ending scene there. I would have done a quick flashback montage, or something like that, where, put it in like black and white or something where they're flashing back to the beginning where it all started, instead of doing that cheesy ass scene, with her popping up in that beautiful radiant sunbeam. Oh, like, what's he gonna do? I halfway expected her to drop to her knees and go, "May the Schwartz be with you." Okay, Graham. You have your hand up. Go ahead.
No, Tim just actually brought up a good point. I had a wee bit of a gripe with the ending as well. It wasn't so much the Grace thing. I get why they went back to the hill and, back to where it all come full circle. Ryan's riding the bike, and I'm sitting there going, oh, we brought up the dyspraxia again after about, when was the last time it was mentioned? Probably Spyfall Part 1 when he was trying to play basketball. And then we forget about it in between all that, and then the last time was the Ghost Monument. It started with Dyspraxia, let's finish him with Dyspraxia. Okay, we'll forget about it in between. But, no, but I get why they done it. It was full circle, it was closure for both the characters. Yeah, the Grace thing was kind of cheesy. But hey, that's what people watch these days, I guess, body soap operas. But the only other wee gripe I had was, this is either the sound engineer's fault or it's unfortunately Seiken Akinola's fault. There was times in this episode where the music was overbearing to the dialogue again, and that even included the Daleks. And now for that to happen to Nick Briggs, the way he shouts into that microphone, no, there's something wrong somewhere. So either the sound engineer needs to be taken behind the woodshed and rattled repeatedly, or we need to ask Seiken Akinola to tone down the decibels at certain scores within certain episodes as we go forward. Other than that, though, pretty enjoyable episode.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I would have thrown a one-liner in there like, okay, Ryan, if you leave, all right, something I didn't tell you, but the Artron energy of the TARDIS was stabilizing her condition. Right there, boom. You got a one-liner that explains why the dyspraxia and all those coordination problems magically disappeared for the last 2 seasons. But then you lay out, okay, but if you go off on your own, that's going to dissipate, and over time it may return. That's a little dramatic bit you can throw in without going over the top. Plus, it explains where the hell the dyspraxia went for the last 2 seasons. But that's just me. I'm quirky about things like that. Okay, AJ.
Yeah, a couple of things. So what happened to the people that traveled back to Earth the previous season with Graham and all that? Where are they in the TARDIS? Also, dumbest line in this episode was, take the car, just leave my face.
I think she told them to go ahead and they could live lives on that era, but it's like, yeah, what are they going to do? Go found a Taco Bell? It's like oh, I can see that now. Okay, DWC.
Yeah, I actually also wanted to say, while it was a clever way to get rid of Daleks, having them all in TARDIS, maybe, but to me, that kind of made me think, wow, those Daleks are just dumb, because surely you just needed one to kill off the Doctor. That was the ultimate point of why they needed anyone to go to kill. They thought the Doctor was in there. Surely you just need one. Ultimately, the Daleks fell for a really big, stupid trap, ultimately. Also, one bit I was actually just thinking, there was one bit of Jack that I didn't like. Well, sort of didn't like. It's not exactly like it was John Barrowman's fault or anything. It's very much with the script. But a huge bit of forced exposition in there with explaining how he can't die. There's a huge info dump about Rose Tyler and how I was killed by a Dalek, and that. But then partly due to the Doctor, but then also Rose. I'm like, wow. Award for most forced exposition ever goes to.
Yeah, they kind of shoved the immortal thing down your throat just a wee bit. Okay, Lady Neo.
Well, I think they did that because you have a lot of people who are watching Doctor Who and they're like, who's Captain Jack Harkness? Why is he immortal? And he explains it. Simple as that. When I think about the Graham and Ryan thing, though, and I know they had to both leave, but my biggest thing is this. When they were sitting there on the couch and he's like, oh, we got to go see the dog. Now, he was excited, yes. Ryan was just like, oh, okay. Now, if Ryan was excited to go and see the doc and say, okay, yeah, let's go on an adventure, Ryan would have went too. Simple as that. But since Ryan says, I want to stay here, Graham's like, okay, well, let's stay here together. And that's how I saw that portioned out. He wanted to go and be with his son, with his grandson or son. I don't know which one it is. I don't care. But he wanted to be with him. So wherever Ryan goes, he'll go, as long as he can. And then the question I'm trying to figure out is, now you had is it human mutated Daleks, right? And then you had they come from Skaro, those other ones, right? And they wouldn't kill us, but they would kill the other Daleks. I didn't understand that. But then I guess they're like the Dalek cops, right? Is that what she was trying to explain? Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay, I got it.
They're about racial purity.
Yep. Me, I'd have just called up the Terry Nation estate. Okay, Paul.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about that. You're saying about the explanation about his immortal, mentioning Rose. I just think it's always good when you get a back reference. You know, it's like Eric Saywood said in his his Mythmakers. You know, it's always good when it looks over its shoulder. You know, I always love a reference to the past, even if it's just a new era past. And it's like you said, Brian, in one of your news videos, we're lucky they've always been run by a Doctor Who fan. It could be worse, couldn't it?
Okay, Graham.
Just putting up on the Daleks. I will give Chibby this. For all the pissing, bitching and moaning under RTD about how the Daleks became a bit of a joke, at least Chibby's Daleks are killing people. So, kudos there, Chib. Chib, no, I'll give you that one, buddy.
I did kind of like the red effect on the way called the Earth-made Daleks versus the blue effect. It kind of gave it like a fiery, like plasma kind of look to it when they zap somebody. Plus, you know, the red eyes and all that kind of gave it a Terminator feel at that point. You know, when they're coming around. So, plus the fact that the glow went from blue to red. So, okay, if something just went wrong. So I got to give them that much on that on the new Daleks, or these, you know, Earth-made Daleks. But the thing is, like Neo brought up, it's kind of scary because, yeah, they're bringing drones into the culture, which I was worried about until they did have a drone program. Oh, I wish I could remember where this was. They actually had these little drones. They kind of resembled Daleks loosely. And they decided, okay, after a few trial runs, they'd let them run in this park overnight on their own. And everything was going great for, like, say, I think it was a few days. And then they came in the one morning to check on them, and one had knocked itself over into a wading pool and shorted itself out. So they kind of ain't got it perfected yet, but it is a little bit scary that they are getting close to the point that they could do this eventually, you know. So I don't know. You never know with technology. So many crazy things out there. Okay, DWC, you have your hand up, so go ahead.
I was going to say this when I thought no one else was actually having a question, but nonetheless, wanted to say it's not so much about this episode, but anyone who was able to see the post-credit bit, we've also got a new companion, John Bishop. Just thought I'd put it out there. Great seeing him. Gonna love seeing him in the next series.
Okay, Texas Tim.
Well, one thing I did like about the story itself too was that it was this human being that instigated this whole thing. He made a mistake. He had no idea what he was getting into, so he ended up being a victim of the whole process. And I think thought it was interesting that the doctor pointed that out. And I don't remember how she did it, or when. I think she was talking to the rich guy, but you don't know what you're messing with. And the truth is, it was just a simple mistake that they had made that ended up making this big catastrophic business, whereas it wasn't a nefarious plot from the begin with.
Yeah, that poor the poor guy who was working on the Dalek and decided to recreate, you know, the creature from the organic remains. The first thing that popped into my head was that line from Jurassic Park. You were so busy worrying about whether you could instead of worrying about whether you should. And boom, there you go. It's like, all right, AJ, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Just a couple of things. I find it funny that the Doctor was in prison with a whole bunch of enemies, previous enemies, and never got into a prison fight or something like that, which I find weird. The line to the Doctor, from the Doctor to Jack, "You've had work done," and Jack is like, "Well, you could talk." That's David Tennant to Jack. The 3D printing booths kind of look like Bill and Ted's time travel phone booth. And also the squareness gun all the way back in season 1 of Doctor Who. Just a couple of references I noticed.
Now, what would have made me jump for joy if it turns out the prison asteroid was Shada. And that the, what was her name? What was them guys' name that was running the Galaxy or running the Justice Part? They were running the Jadoon for a bit. The Shadow Proclamation. It had been great if found out the Shadow Proclamation had taken it over and turned it into a general purpose prison, you know, after the Time Lords abandoned it. Plus, you know, they had other things to worry about, so it's not like they were going to lay claim on Shada again. And plus, it would advance, explain the advanced technology they had to contain, weeping angels, silence, and all that stuff in there. So, okay, DWC, got your hand up again, so go ahead.
Yeah, the prison actually somewhat, I don't want to say confused me, but I was somewhat curious about it, because you've got the Doctor in a padded, well, I say padded cell, but a hard, solid cell. And then you have her walking around a bit with those electrode fences. All I thought was, wait, are those additional cells? And if so, why is the Doctor allowed to walk around? Is this just the Doctor or the other prisoners getting exercise? And it was actually only on the second watch that I completely forgot about how the Doctor hears a knocking on a wall, and I realized, oh, that's Jack. So was he let out of that? There was just no actual explanation of what exactly that structure of the electrified fences was even about. And I know that's a nitpick, but it was just something that was really getting to me, is why was the Doctor allowed out and to walk around this bit every now and again?
Yeah, like Graham brought up earlier, where did he hide all that stuff? It's obvious that this prison did not have the practice of, okay, now squat and cough. All right. Neo.
That right there was a prime example of all the way back in, was it Bad Wolf or the one before that one where he pulled that gun from somewhere. And regarding the creatures that are in there, the aliens and everything that are in there in the prison, I saw a red-eyed Ood, but on the other part, he was in there. That wasn't an Ood that was with him. I was thinking Sarah Jane Adventures, that insect creature. Was that creature that was with him?
Sycorax.
I wasn't. Yes, that's who I thought it was. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it could be, because, like I said, if they got enough props and all that, they'll happily reuse them, especially for a scene like that. So it's not beyond belief. Okay, anything else before we move on to scoring this thing? All right, everybody pretty much set. Okay, we're going to start at the top now this time. DWC, out of 10, what do you rate Revolution of the Daleks?
I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I can't think of much that I could say to like it. So if I'm having that middle of the road, I would say 5, but I think I'll say a 7.
Okay, AJ.
Sorry, yeah. I would definitely give it a 6. I mean, the Doctor let Robertson onto the TARDIS and didn't check his pockets when she let him off.
That's a good question. That's a good thing there. I didn't catch that. Okay, Paul.
Yep, as usual, this gets a 10 from me.
Okay, Graham.
I'll be a wee bit less generous. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I'll give it a 7.5.
All right, Neo.
Well, I enjoyed this episode. Love Jack always. And everything kind of worked out for me. I'm going to have to be near Paul. I would give it a 10, but I'm going to give it a 9.5. I really enjoyed this one.
Okay, Texas Tim.
Yeah, I would say I enjoyed it very much. There was definitely an uptick in quality as far as the script and the story went. And I think everybody did their parts pretty good. I'm going to give it an 8. I thought it was good, but there were quite a few things that kind of annoyed me. But again, that's every episode. So there you go.
Yeah, that's the number I was thinking of too. I'm going to give it an 8. It was a good effort. There was a lot of things they improved on. There was some really good scenes in there, but at the same time, there was some stuff they could have left out and maybe put something else in. So I can't give it a perfect 10. And like I said, the beginning part there where they're doing all this exposition, with the political stuff, like I said, I could have handled that in a 30-second flashback later in the episode and, use that time for something else. That's what I was thinking when I was sitting there watching it. So I can only give it about an 8. Okay, folks. Well, coming soon, because I've been meaning to do this for a while. But like I said, I got tied up with a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to announce a date on this, but I'd like to go back and have a talk about The Mandalorian. So if y'all like, and over the next couple of weeks, sit back, rewatch the episodes, see which ones you liked more than the others, pick which character you liked that they brought back, things like that. See which bits you did like, which bits you didn't. And I think we're just going to do one big thing where we're going to cover the whole enchilada so far. So, especially, we're going to probably end up just stuck for a half an hour on the last couple minutes of the last episode of the last season, because that was a very, very, very unexpected turn of events there. I had no idea they would even go there, let alone go anywhere near there. So until next time, everybody, please take care of yourselves. 2020 is over, thank goodness. Now all we have to do is get rid of the damn COVID virus. So until next time, take care. Have a good one. See you on the flip side.